Hey guys, it's a wheelchair gamer. I figured I would talk about. Well, first off, it's been a tremendously long time since I have done a YouTube video, and there's a reason for that. It has a lot to do with the title of this video, and it's really because, frankly, YouTube is dying. This is something that I think has been known to us for a while. I'm not saying that it's not a premier platform. I'm not saying that you can't do things with it. But at this point, they've kind of hit a plateau, if you've noticed. Most of the streaming stuff is not done on YouTube. And you're asking, okay, if YouTube's dying, why are you making a video? Well, the reason why I'm making a video is because there are still fans of mine that watch YouTube. And I haven't been on YouTube in a while, so I figured I might as well do a little stream thing today, this morning, on this. So basically, one of the things that I'm hoping to achieve by this video is I'm hoping to be able to kind of open up the dialogue for the reasons why YouTube is dying. This is kind of off the cuff, so if I get some information wrong, forgive me, and please let me know in the comments below if the content, was incorrect or if the comments were incorrect. So one thing that I've noticed is the first thing I want to bring up is the fact that basically the way that they have changed things on YouTube to basically being like basically like, I'm looking on my page here and I see that what is it? What does it say? It says that 10,000 lifetime views is what is required of your channel to be able to monetize. And to me, this really shoots below the belt at the smaller YouTubers and kind of put a bad taste in my mouth and stopped me from wanting to edit video. Now, that's another thing. If you notice that the content that's on YouTube, it's very limited. Well, not limited, but it's very much the same things. Okay, so you got your Let's Plays, which there was an article that I actually saw that I read today that kind of highlighted on this. I can't remember the name of it because it was just something I read in passing. It was like something called YouTube's Dying and It's Fantastic. They referred to this thing as the 2.0 YouTube, which isn't really a thing, obviously, but it's like an idea, basically. But as you noticed, like with the content, what I was going to get at is basically there's a lot of edited content that, like jump edits is, the jump cuts, like that is a very commonplace thing that people are doing. And truthfully, I got tired of doing that. So that's why I'm doing this live sort of format thing, because the reality is that YouTube is, I don't know, there's so many videos that are like that, where it's so highly edited, where I feel like you're not really getting the real perspective of the person when they're talking. And, I don't know what the true purpose of this is. I don't know if it's going to get a lot of views. And I hope that maybe it'll expose my channel a little bit more, because I am trying to grow on Twitch. YouTube I've kind of abandoned in a lot of ways, but I don't think it's something that's not worth doing, but I think a change needs to occur for it to continue on. Like, for instance, the way that videos are done, and basically the people that were already on top will already stay on top, which the article also hit on that. I mean, I don't want to just take this person's ideas and say that, they're my own, but I did agree on that. I did agree on the fact that basically it's oversaturated, which is a good point. It's completely oversaturated with content. I don't think that means we should limit people to who can make the content, because then you get into a whole other ball game where it's like it kind of takes away from the whole thing, because people want to make, they want to be creative, and I think YouTube is a great outlet for that. I think Twitch can be great for that. It's just a different sort of format, and a lot of people don't understand Twitch. I think more people are, more likely to go to YouTube, because I still go to YouTube for a lot of resource-based video, to get educated on certain things. I mean, we are in the age of information, and I feel like, YouTube is not going, I don't feel like it's going to completely go away. I mean, if it did, there'd be something else that would come along the way, because, as you know, YouTube, when it was coming up, there was things like Daily Motion, there's Vivo, which is still, or Vimo is another one. I know that there's an up-and-coming one, VidMe. I know that's one that a lot of people are putting their content to right now. I mean, you also have Facebook, which I don't really think... I kind of see that maybe getting away from that aspect, but I don't know. I mean, the live thing is kind of cool, because I feel like it kind of adds to the whole experience of the social network, in terms of the fact that you are live broadcasting what you're doing. And, that's what Facebook's about, is about showing, but I digress. The main things here is that I think YouTube is dying. I think it's hit a plateau. In terms of, they came out with YouTube Red, but if you look at a lot of the content that they're offering on Red, it's not really spectacular. I mean, the selection is not great. Of course, I like Rhett and Link. I think they're great. PewDiePie's got his thing going on, but I just don't know how, this isn't content that I hear people talking about big time. The YouTube Red stuff, because it seems interesting. It seems like a good idea, but it's just, I think there's other services that, like, kind of beat it out. I think Hulu and Netflix and Amazon Prime are really killing them in terms of, like, the quality of the content, the amount of money that they're able to throw. I mean, shit, Netflix has pretty much, the other day they came out with the fact that they went bankrupt, that they're in debt, basically, for making all these damn shows, which doesn't really surprise me, but, and it seems like they're trying to make this bridge between a person becomes a YouTuber, then all of a sudden they become an actor. And I feel like there's a bit of a... That might be a bit of a stretch, but, I mean, being comfortable in front of the camera, especially in this type of format, it would make sense. But, again, I think... So, YouTube Red, I think it's a great idea, but I just don't think the execution has been there on that, so I think that's one of the things. I think the oversaturation is definitely a big thing, which I just talked about. There's just so much content, and a lot of it's the same stuff. Like, how many try-hard videos have you seen, or how many, like, video vlogs, or whatever. I mean, some of the stuff that I've made falls into this category. I mean, most of my stuff became streams. There was some content that I was making, but it was just the numbers I was driving just were not, they weren't that good. Now, on any given time, I'm not going to say that my views are great on Twitch. They're not always great, but it's kind of like this learning curve. It's kind of like this thing I'm trying to figure out. But I would say, yeah, so the oversaturation. What else do we got? I guess the fact that there are a lot of other things that you can stream to and do video to. But my thing is, I think at this point, someone needs to innovate the way things are being done. Because, I mean, you look at the history of stuff like, look at where, like, social networking started with, like, MySpace, for example. And then you look at something like Facebook. Facebook is basically, it wouldn't have happened if MySpace would have never happened, because basically they took an idea that already existed and they just elaborated on it, and then it blew up. I mean, I have a Facebook. Who the fuck doesn't have a Facebook? Everybody's got Facebook now. I mean, I'm just saying. I think some things need to be reinvented in a way. I'm not saying you have to reinvent the wheel. You certainly don't have to do that and make your life super complicated. But all I'm saying is that I feel like YouTube is kind of dying. As much as I hate to say it, because I just feel like You either evolve or you die. I mean, that's just how it goes. I would think that they have CEOs, the CEO and the head honchos would be looking at this, basically saying, "Hey, you know, um, you know, basically, hey, we need to look at this. We need to figure out what's going on. Why did we hit a plateau? What can we do to change?" Because they're a big enough platform. I mean, it is owned by Google, so I, there's got to be something in the works. I can only imagine because, especially after this move with the monetization thing, and then what they did with the whole this whole thing with there was some racially driven content that was terrorist content and other stuff that supposedly had ads on it and it was gaining revenue, which I don't know if that's true. I mean this is what I heard, through the community, but beyond that I don't really know what was done there, but I know that there was something involving terrorist videos having ads in them, and obviously that's a problem. So that kind of makes you wonder, how the fuck did that happen? It's a really good question, because it shouldn't have happened at all. There's no excuse for that whatsoever. But being the conglomerate that they are, how big Google is, I can't imagine them not investigating into this and not noticing that YouTube is kind of going down the tubes, if you will. No pun intended. Or maybe a pun intended. I don't know. However you look at it. But anyways, guys, that's just my thoughts on this. It was something that... It's a topic that I've been talking about amongst my friends, amongst other people. And I don't think it's unknown fact that YouTube is indeed dying. Maybe not dying in the sense of we're never going to see YouTube again, but dying in the sense of the current format, I think is going to evolve into something else. If it doesn't evolve, then it will go away, and something else will take its place, because there's always something else in line. I'm sure there's plenty of other app developers and stuff that have come up with other video things that they would love to put to the forefront in front of YouTube. This will be interesting to see what happens in the next few years here, but I think we're going to definitely see some changes to YouTube. I'd be very surprised if we didn't, because like I said, I mean, it would be so dumb if they didn't try to reinvent the wheel in this case, which I know sometimes they say, oh, you shouldn't reinvent the wheel, but in this case I think maybe not reinvent it, but re-innovate it, if you will. And I think that will ultimately help YouTube to survive. But anyways, guys, so what are your thoughts on this? In the comments below, just tell me what you think. Tell me if you think YouTube is dying, and if you do think that, then what direction do you think YouTube should go in? I'm just kind of curious what the viewers think. But anyways, guys, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.